The New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go, guys.
They lose 31-19.
Covered, though.
They certainly did cover.
Great teams cover.
They had a couple of opportunities in the game. Obviously, you have Chris Olave throwing up an interception. Love to have that one back. Spencer Rattler really is worst throw of the day, and we were talking about it through text chain. Worst throw of the day was to Brandon Cooks there in the end zone. Brandon Cooks almost makes a great catch. You have to settle for a field goal in that game. Now I
still don't see where the ball hit the ground though.
I know, to overturn it.
So all right.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, you could probably assume that it did.
Yeah,
but you got to show me.
Yeah,
it was called a touchdown. They probably called it a touchdown because they knew it would be automatically reviewed.
Yeah,
but like the black pants, the shadows.
Yeah, it's tough.
You couldn't prove to me. You could assume.
We were talking about it over text. For whatever reason, they always overturn calls like that. It's like when the quarterback fumbles it.
I'm over the super slow motion. Like maybe
they always overturn plays like that.
I'm not sure if I agree with you on that, but like it's got to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I just couldn't see it. Beyond a shadow, it was in the shadows. Shadow blocked it.
Your overall thoughts, though, on the Saints going to Buffalo after getting embarrassed by Seattle on the road. You're competitive in the game. You ran the football right at Buffalo. Good. 34 carries, 189 yards, 5.6 yards per carry. Kendre Miller had a great touchdown run. AK ran the ball really well, 4.7 yards per carry. Spencer Rattler ran the football really well. Spencer through the air, obviously, only 4.6 yards per attempt. That really needs to go up. I know what they're doing, but he was efficient, but that's kind of what the game plan was always going to be. 18 of 27, 126 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Chris Olave did throw the interception like we're talking about. I know the NFL. I know there's no moral victories, but after getting just whacked against the Seattle Seahawks on the road, you go the opposite direction across the country, and you put up a great fight against Buffalo.
Yeah, you did. I thought defensively you played your best game of the season. You're playing an offense that's electric, dynamic. They have a really, really talented running back and, arguably the best player in the NFL at quarterback, Josh Allen. Now, he made his plays, especially towards the end of the game with his feet and running the ball, but you made his life hell for a while. You made them uncomfortable. You sacked him multiple times. Now, James Cook kind of got off a few times and had some good runs, but you're going to give up plays to that offense. Every team is. And you gave up a lot less yards and points than some other teams that have already played that same team that are thought to be some of the best teams in the league. So defensively, you played your ass off.
Yeah.
It's hard to say you did enough to win the game because you didn't win the game.
Right.
And then on the offensive side of the ball, you ran the ball really well. Buffalo, that is a big glaring weakness on their team, is their run defense. You've seen it every single week, people running the ball. You saw Derrick Henry. I think he ran for 950 yards against them in one game. So you've seen the deficiency there. So that was always going to be the game plan. Right. And I think defensively for the Buffalo Bills, I think they were okay with that. They have seen the game plan that works against this New Orleans Saints offense. Right. They are not talented enough to drive in, drive out, to go 8, 10, 12, 14 plays and continuously get first downs. Why? Because you make mistakes. Now, the penalties cleaned up this game.
Yeah.
Like we said, be more disciplined. We can, as a Saints fan base, you can be okay with just not being quite as good. And we saw that. Saints are not as good as the Buffalo Bills, but be more disciplined. And I think that happened. I think that they cleaned up a lot of the errors, the pre-snap penalties, a lot of just silly mistakes that you should get cleaned up in the preseason. I think we're spinning some positive stuff right here. I think you cleaned that part up. You just weren't quite as good, and you didn't make the plays. Like when you look at Rattler's game, to beat the Buffalo Bills on the road like that with a roster that's not as good, you have to play damn near perfect. Right. Yeah. And you have to make throws like the one he missed. That's, I can point to 2 big throws this season that he didn't make he wants back. Week 1 to Olave, this week to Cooks in the end zone. He wants us back, and I think unfortunately because of the record, because he's 0-10 as a starter, like those are kind of the things people are starting to like dive in and hone in on, are those missed throws, not the good plays that he's made. He made some dynamic plays with his feet.
Yep.
The yardage wasn't there, but again, the defensive philosophy is what the Saints are gonna continue to see until they prove they can beat it. Play shell coverage. Give up the running game, give up little passes underneath because they don't have the personnel. They're just not there as a team yet to be able to grind a defense down and stay on schedule, because something's going to happen. Some mistake is going to happen, or they're not going to be able to, out-athlete you in space one-on-one. So you're going to continue to see it. So game plan-wise, coaching staff-wise, you're going to have to find a way to be better, to beat shell coverage. And we did we ran the ball great, but bend don't break defense, and they just didn't break.
Yeah, I thought the defense for the Saints, you have 3 sacks against an alien at quarterback. I thought you did a really nice job compared to what anybody else has done against the Buffalo Bills. Allen was 16 of 22, 209. He had 2 scores, but he threw an interception as well. He did have the long run, right, where he's just breaking tackles down the middle of your defense. But I think defensively you played well enough to give your team a chance. And the offense, look, they had some opportunities. If you complete that pass to Brandon Cooks, the game looks a little bit different. I know they go and they get points after that, but if you make that pass, you make that play, I think the game and the narrative and kind of the flow of the game changes a little bit there for you. So, look, you go on the road against one of the best teams in the NFL. You lose 31-19, and all jokes aside, you do cover the spread. Nobody thought you'd be able to have a game like you had. There's things to build off of, and it's never going to be probably what you want as far as the wins and the losses, the record this year. We understand that. But if you're looking at it from what it was a week ago to what it is now, you clean up the penalties, right? You got embarrassed last week by a team that's not as good as Buffalo. And so you come back in this game and you are competitive. There's things you can take from this game. And it sucks. I know moral victories you're like, wait a minute, it's the National Football League. But where you're at right now, which right now you have the number 1 overall pick. Like you have it by strength of schedule, because there's other winless teams in the NFL, but you have it by strength of schedule metric right now. That's where you're at. But there's things that you can build off of from this team. And look, I don't know what you would do with the number 1 overall pick. I have no idea. Right now I don't have a lot of faith that you would make the right decision just based off how you've drafted in recent memory there. Because I'll be honest with you, I watch a game like that. When y'all watch the game and you could add 1 automatic, surefire, Pro Bowl, All-Pro guy at any position for the Saints, what would it be right now?
Receiver.
Yeah.
For me.
Receiver.
Because, again, you were talking about the 2 throws he wanted back. Personally, I thought it was a bad throw yesterday. I thought it would have been tough for Brandon Cooks to make.
It was a bad throw.
Chris Olave
100%.
dropped one right before that.
Yep.
I think it may have been the same drive or the drive before where, it was a little bit behind him. It was on his back shoulder. Got to make it. Week 1, got to make that catch. If you had a stud receiver, A.J. Brown tweeted out yesterday after the game, they're winning. He had 2 catches. He said, if I'm not wanted anymore, show me the door. If you had A.J. Brown on this offense, Spencer Rattler looks a lot better, and you probably have a win.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at the plays the receivers made last night in Sunday Night Football for both teams.
Yep.
Their quarterbacks,
George Pickens.
Their quarterbacks gave them a chance, and they took the chance and made it a reality.
Yep.
They helped their guy out. You need a dog. You need one of those guys that when the ball's in the air, it's like, it is me, and it's only me. I'm making the catch. Nobody else is coming close to this football. You got to help your guy. Does the quarterback, sure, we can have that conversation. But how many times do we see across that league, a guy puts it in the area and his number 1 guy goes and gets it, or his surefire hands guy goes and gets I know the Chargers lost, but I'm watching that entire game. If you put it anywhere in the radius of Keenan Allen, anywhere in the same zip code as Keenan Allen, he's catching it.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it every single time. Unfortunately, Malik got hurt, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on because the turf of that place sucks.
Yep.
But like Malik's going to get that. Like your top tier receivers are going to make those plays for you.
Do you have a guy on this team you would trust to throw a 50-50 ball to?
No.
You can't throw 50-50 balls. If you're Rattler and it's 3rd and goal, you can't take a shot in the end
But
zone
sometimes that's your only read if they take away everything else.
Yeah.
The negative thing I would point out about Spencer is like his misses are low usually, which is like you give nobody a chance. Like when he does, a very accurate thrower, a little bit behind on some of these crossing routes, but some of his like out routes and things to the sideline tend to come out a little bit low. Usually very accurate with that. And I've been pretty impressed with the majority of his accuracy. Now on the big throws, he's got to be better. He's got to be like when you're at a talent deficiency, you have to play the position perfectly, and it's just not happening. And unfortunately for Saints fans, unfortunately for Spencer and the record is not great. It's 0-10 when he's a starter. Would it have been any different with Tom Brady team like being the quarterback of these teams? I'd maybe 1-9. I don't know.
Just when I start thinking about NFL draft time, right? And who knows where this quarterback group ends up being? And I know a lot of people want to take a quarterback, and you've never had the number 1 pick, and you hadn't taken a quarterback in the first round since Archie. Like, we know all that. But like right now, if Lenore Sellers is on this team, what's the record? If John Mateer is on this team, what's the record? If Dante Moore is on this team, what's the record? Nussmeier, Beck, Manning, whoever. There's a guy like Jordan Tyson. If I get the number 1 pick from Arizona State, I'm not taking him number 1, but I'm trading down to number 4. Somebody that's hungry for a quarterback. And you know what this team needs? It needs about 3 or 4 dudes. So give me those picks. I'll go get the 6'2" receiver that's tearing up the Big 12 right now.
Yeah.
Or whoever. Right? If you feel like there's a number 1 guy out there.